I dislike sudden phone calls. I don't like Mondays. I'm usually in a good mood after the weekend, and the tedious routine of paperwork seems so dull. My wife Kate called during lunch to see when I would be home. She was out shopping and hoped to be home by the time I arrived. Then, at 2 p.m., while I was perfecting the customer database, the phone rang. I tried to put the receiver on a lever and repeat the last few key presses. "Good afternoon, Dave Marshall." No answer, just a lot of background noise and some indistinct voices. "Good afternoon, Dave Marshall." Still nothing. I almost hung up, thinking it was just kids making prank calls, and then I realized it was my wife Kate. Kate often redials by accident on her mobile phone. Every time she does this, I wouldn't mind getting $1. Realizing it was her, I decided to surprise her on her shopping trip. My birthday is coming up, and I could find out what she wants to buy for me. It turned out to be one of the worst decisions I made that day. Don't worry, my husband is at work, and I don't have to be home before 5 p.m. We have 2 hours. That's great, don't stop. That was Kate's voice. Of course, it wasn't a shopping trip. The rustling of clothes and moans continued for a few minutes. I don't know how long it lasted. I was shocked. I knew it was a man because of the grunts he made in response to what Kate was doing to him. Yes, I tried to listen to what was happening. Part of me couldn't believe it. There must be a simple explanation. Another part of my brain logically told me it was true, she was unfaithful to me. I didn't recognize the man's voice, so I was quite sure he wasn't one of our friends. Who was it? Why did she cheat on me? Kate suddenly burst into laughter, bringing me back to the ringing phone. "Oh my God, you're so eager. I like to lie on my back and enjoy myself. Buddy, you're the best. My wife can't keep up with you." Now I know what he meant. Now she was giving someone else the same pleasure. The louder grunts on the phone than usual made me notice what was happening. Kate whispered, "Not yet." I want to continue. Soon, too soon. I heard her start to cast her magic again. "Yes, Kate, I'm almost there." Another burst of laughter, then Kate's voice. "Oh my God, I thought you would never stop." "Not always, but today is a special day. You are special." The next 5 minutes were filled with licking and satisfied moans. Kate said again, "Okay, now it's my turn. Let me undress and touch me again." The sound of clothes hastily taken off and thrown aside. The creaking of springs. The sound of their kisses. When Kate gets excited, she is very sensitive to the slightest touch. I could caress her breasts, belly, buttocks, and knees, bringing her to the brink of collapse. This sensitivity made her lose control, and she always became bright and loud. Her lover had just discovered this when she started screaming for him to stop teasing and finish her. "Oh God, yes, 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 sister, you know how to make a woman happy. Oh yes." Her panting and the way he ate her had a great impact on me. I wanted to reach into the phone and strangle them both. 2 fingers, not fast enough. Faster after. I'm almost there. Yes, now. The sounds I heard were quiet breathing and the sound of the spring bed as he lay next to her, and she came. Kate always enjoyed the aftertaste of a good finish, lying still for 5 or 6 minutes. According to the silence, that was the case. Nothing for the next few minutes. Then Kate's voice. "My God, you recover so quickly. Let's see how long you can last this time." The guy grunted something, and I heard Kate say, "No, we can do it later." My God, she didn't use any protection. She let him come without a condom. The frantic sounds of my wife and lover mating spreading through the phone line made me finally lose control. I couldn't take it anymore and threw the phone against the wall. It shattered into 1,000 different pieces, scattering like confetti on the furniture and floor. For the next hour, I sat there in despair, tears streaming down my cheeks. I held my head and cried for what I had lost. How could she do this? She never said she was dissatisfied with our life. How long has she been doing this? Am I getting the leftovers for the second time? Whose are they? My marriage is falling apart. She wants someone else. I, alone, can never share with her. I love her too much to do that. I will never be a cuckold. As a man, as a lover, I feel humiliated. Her comments about his size made me feel inferior, which made me even angrier. I decided I was going to go home and talk to her. then pack my bags and leave. Thank God, we don't have children. We weren't married long enough to have a lot of things. So it wasn't hard for me to pack my bags. The house was rented, and most of the furniture was hers. My heart was broken for what I had lost, but I knew I had to be strong and face it. I pulled myself together, cleaned the desk, and prepared to leave. Just as I was packing my briefcase, there was a knock on the door, and my secretary came in. She stopped and stared at my swollen eyes. After looking around, her gaze fell on the broken phone scattered on the red carpet. A look of concern and worry flashed across her face, and then she continued what she was going to do. Dave, are you okay? Can I help you with anything? I shook my head and whispered that I was fine. I'm leaving early today. I have some personal matters to take care of. Okay, before you go, your wife is looking for you on your office phone. She can't get you on your private phone. She glanced again at the broken phone scattered in small pieces. My wife, I don't want to talk to her. My voice rose 2 octaves, and my anger surfaced. Tell her I'll see her later. The poor woman looked like she had swallowed something unpleasant while pondering my angry reaction. I'm sorry, she said you will, but I have to tell her it's urgent, and if you don't answer the phone, don't come home. This cheating, __, demanded that I talk to her. Okay, I will, but on my terms. I will let her know quickly that she will be the one with her ears on, not me. I rushed past the receptionist, grabbed her phone, and pressed the red flashing button on the line. What the hell is going on, __? Dave, calm down and listen to me, I will explain everything. My anger was uncontrollable, but I felt that I would give her enough rope to hang herself and then let her know that I heard everything. Okay, explain. Oh, you know now. I know you're angry, but you hung up earlier than I thought. I thought you would try to record what I was doing so that you could make me listen to it later. Well, it doesn't matter. I interrupted her. You know I was listening? Did you do this on purpose, knowing I could hear what was happening? Of course, I knew. After all, I dialed the number and waited for you to answer the phone before we started. Now I know this is confusing, so let me clarify. First of all, I know about you and Debbie's little affair, and I know it's over. It was just to let you know that both can play. Now you understand the pain I felt when I found out. I was stunned. She knew about me and Debbie. How could she know? It only lasted a month, 5 secret meetings. The guilt was too strong, so I ended it. How could she know? I didn't tell anyone, Debbie, __, it was all her. Debbie was unhappy that I dumped her, and she called me and told me all the details. I believe she exaggerated a bit, but it was enough to let me know you had an affair. Why didn't I? I thought the way I chose was more impactful. I wanted you to know that pain can be two-way. Kate paused for a moment, then continued, as for who he is, you will never know. This is part of your punishment. Oh, you also won't find out if I really cheated, if I did, who it was. What do you mean, really cheated? I heard you two having sex. I heard you tell him he was better than me. Well, you did hear some, but did it really happen? Or did I just exaggerate the facts to make it look like I did? Of course, there was someone there, but did I let him, __, me, or was it all a performance? You have to ask yourself, do you think I would really cheat on you, just like I had to ask myself about you? This time it's part of the punishment. I will never tell you what really happened. You just have to deal with it, just like I had to deal with what you did. I didn't know what to say. I knew I heard everything. Now she tells me that maybe all of this was to make me think she cheated. How to deal with it? If I knew for sure, I could react, but not knowing really left me with no choice. Kate interrupted my thoughts, her voice softer this time. Dave, I never said he was a better lover than you, just that he was bigger and reached places you couldn't. Now is that also a lie, or did he actually do something to me that you could never do? I had to think the same thing when Debbie told me about you too. I stood there, shaking my head, unsure if anything was real or just a nightmare. I had no answers to anything. Dave, I love you, and I want us to be together, but I can't be with you if you don't truly understand the pain I went through. This was my way of dealing with it, for me. We will talk about it when you get home, but for now, I have to go. I love you. She hung up the phone before I could respond. What could I say? We did talk later. I explained everything I did and why, and she cried a lot, then told me that she could get over it if we were both faithful to each other from now on. She never told me if she cheated on me. I begged her to tell me the truth so I could move on, but she said the time was not right. 6 months later, things were getting worse. I couldn't get it out of my mind, and it seemed like we were about to break up. I even refused to have sex with Kate until she produced a doctor's certificate that she did not have a sexually transmitted disease. At first, she was offended, but I told her I wouldn't take a risk. She finally understood and agreed. It didn't help. It wasn't the idea of her sleeping with someone else that I could handle. What was worse was the uncertainty. In the end, I moved out of the master bedroom and into the spare room so I could have some privacy. I couldn't sleep in the same bed with her, or I would get angry. We hadn't had sex since all this started. Every time the image of her sleeping with him came to my mind, it would replay. Kate tried to seduce me with sexy lingerie and romantic dinners, but nothing worked. Kate was desperate but still didn't tell me. As a last resort, we both went to counseling. At the first session, the counselor convinced Kate that if we were going to work on this issue, she had to tell me the truth. As he said, it was a cruel and unfair punishment. I knew she admitted that she did sleep with a jerk, which gave me the closure I needed. She didn't tell me who it was. Just that I didn't know him, and he never saw me. This gave me the first clue as to who this person might be. It must have been someone who knew Kate was married and knew me but never saw me. I knew all her friends, and she knew mine. So it wasn't one of them. My next investigation led me to her workplace. It could have been someone she worked with. I had a business acquaintance who worked at Kate's company, a guy I had helped a few times. He owed me a favor, so I asked him to discreetly gather any gossip about her and someone else. 2 weeks later, he came back with the answer. George, a sales representative, known for his playboy reputation, had been pursuing Kate. In the end, she yelled at him to leave her alone, saying it would never happen again. She did something stupid, but she wanted to save her marriage, not have an affair. You know, Dave, if it were someone else, I might not tell you, but this, __, really pissed me off. He has ruined some good marriages, and he doesn't care who he hurts. I knew that if I did anything, it would come back on me, and Kate would never forgive either of us. So I kept growling. All this time, I kept a close eye on, __, waiting for my chance. I took the opportunity to get a little revenge on Debbie, sending her husband an email describing the mole on her left nipple and an exaggerated description of our tumultuous lovemaking, ensuring she would regret calling Kate. Interestingly, she never considered the consequences of her actions, and she suffered as much as I did. Good things come to those who wait, and things couldn't get better. What made my revenge even sweeter was that it finally happened on the 3rd anniversary of the phone call. As I hid in the hibiscus bushes that grew along the driveway, it was dark and cold. It was the home of his latest mistress and her unsuspecting husband. He had an affair with the wife of a business partner, which made him vulnerable. I knew I was completely safe. He had never seen me, and I was wearing a balaclava to hide my face. The cold penetrated me, and to distract myself, I went over the plan in my mind again. Wait for him to pass me on his way to his car, parked on the street, quickly get out, grab his shoulder, turn him around, and then punch him in the stomach and face. What happened after that would depend on his reaction. I fumbled in my jacket pocket for a crumpled piece of paper. It reassured me that everything was fine. Anger never really left me, just thinking about this, __, reignited my anger, at least it warmed me up and dispelled the cold. The partner found George beaten, bleeding, and tied up on the driveway when he got home from a later meeting. A printed note pinned to his shirt told of George's affairs with his wife and several other women. All his affairs from the past year, all the names were on it. I stuffed all the clothes and shoes I wore into 5 different trash bins in the city. George found himself unemployed. The police had many suspects, the husbands of other women, but they didn't find me. It made the daily newspaper, with a photo of him being put into an ambulance. You can't keep a secret like that. His wife found out everything and divorced him. Kate remained silent all week, but finally told me what happened to George. I asked her if he was the one she was involved with, and she finally admitted that he was. The jerk deserved it. It's a pity it wasn't me. Well, I'm glad it wasn't you. I would hate to lose you. Now we finally settled the problem. Kate curled up next to me and gently kissed my lips. I smiled. Part of the smile was for her, and the other part was for the secret I kept. I made a big mistake, and I paid the price for it. I finally settled the score. Now I can move on with my life.